Spain have just beaten Austria to book their spot in the last 16. 3-0 it finished. Kay Murray and Don Hutchison here with you in this special edition of ESPN FC. We'll also be hearing from Julien and Steve McManaman in just a moment too, as we take a look at the match stats. We saw 2 goals from Mikel Oyarzabal. More on him in just a minute. Pedro Porro also in on the scoring. And normal service resumed for Lamine Yamal, it would seem, in this game. The same could be said about Spain as well. Many questions about Spain coming into this performance, but they answered a few of those today, didn't they, Maka?
Yeah, I thought they were very impressive, Kate, to be honest. I think they've laboured at times throughout this World Cup, certainly in the group stage, but I think it's because they found it too easy. They knocked the ball around without making a huge amount of chances, but today they certainly stepped it up, and some of the bigger players, the Pedris, the Rodris, control the game. Lamine Yamal, of course, is always the danger man, and they scored the goals and won easily, won at a canter in the end. And it was the best performance by a mile so far from Spain in the World Cup.
Obviously not on the score sheet there, but Steve just mentioned Lamine Yamal. We got to see the Lamine Yamal we really know. Obviously didn't come into the tournament fully fit. There was a lot of talk about him growing into it, getting fitter as the tournament's gone on. We definitely saw that today.
I think he's been managed very well. You watch him play and we all know his talent. He's so skillful. I was very surprised the way Austria made it a very open game. At times we were trying to go man for man. But I think the biggest takeaway from that performance today, it was flawless. They've scored 8 goals in the competition so far, none against. As Maka said, with Pedri and Rodri in the middle of the park, they've got the ability to take the ball away from you. And then I think Dani Olmo's a player that's massively underrated. But yeah, I thought Yamal was superb today.
Was that brave or risky from Austria doing this? Because we've seen other teams sitting deeper against this Spain side.
I think you're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Spain are just too good. So you try and go man for man, you try and stop the best players getting on the ball. It's dangerous because one little flick and one trick and you're away. Then the system goes out the window. If you want to go in a low block and go really defensive, then you're going to say to Pedri, Dani Olmo and Rodri in midfield and Yamal, etc. You can have loads of the ball. That's dangerous. So it's going to take some side to beat them.
Yeah, Mikel Oyarzabal with 2 goals in this game. It's 4 in total in the tournament right now, Jules. He scored 50% of Spain's 8 goals so far. Some people do question this player, but that's 17 goals for him in 17 international appearances for Spain. He must be doing something, right?
Yeah, I think he's perfect for the way they play, for this system, for this team. And the Cape Verde game where he didn't touch the ball for the first half hour was just an accident in the way that the game panned out. Spain were not really ready. But when they play like they do today, and again, Austria were not very good, so you don't get carried away after a game like today. However, he's just perfect playing in that kind of false 9 role where he's still very efficient in the box. I mean, the first goal, the second goal is easy, but the first goal, he stops his run when all the centre-backs were going back, and then he finds that just bit of space to finish it like that. He's a super smart player. We know that. There's nothing that he does that the team doesn't need. He's just super efficient in everything he does, and for them, it's perfect. When you've got Baena then on the left-hand side, who's more of a playmaker, playing out wide, so not a pure winger, and Lamine on the other side, I think all that front 3 bring balance, and I agree with Don. For me, the most important almost is Dani Olmo. There's clearly a Spain with Olmo and without. Again, such a smart player, played between the lines. He's very hard to pick and very hard to mark. And I think Dani Olmo with that front 3 is just perfect. The question is, can you do that and can you play like this with this formation against the likes of France or England or Argentina or Brazil later in the tournament? I'm not sure. You might need a Fabian Ruiz to make that midfield a bit stronger, certainly physically.
Yeah, they'd have to get past Portugal or Croatia first, because that's who would be next for Spain as it stands right now. Maka, same question to you about Mikel Oyarzabal. What are your thoughts on him?
Yes, I think he's slightly underrated because they've always had, great number 9s, and they've always had a Fernando Torres or a David Villa who's got many, many goals and played different from him. I'm the same. I've got no problem with him. I think he's a wonderfully intelligent player because he's not traditionally number 9. I think that's why people sort of crab his movement a little bit, but his record speaks for itself. He suits the way this team play. As Jules said, I think the word is his efficiency levels are excellent. His movement's great. He knows how to play. As long as people keep running past him, which they did tonight, and I concur with the boys. I like Olmo in there rather than three sorts of centre midfielders. I didn't like the way they set up the first game of the tournament, but they are starting to bring players in. And then when you can take Olmo off and put Gavi on, or a Fabian Ruiz in there, or a Mikel Merino in there, you know, you're talking about strength in depth. So I think he plays a great role in there, Oyarzabal. He's always got Ferran Torres who can score goals if he comes on. And that's what makes them so different.
Yeah, Spain still not conceded in this tournament, and Unai Simon as well has passed the record set by Walter Zenga in Italia 90, which is no mean feat right now. He's gone 517 minutes without conceding as it stands right now. Next up for Spain, it will be the winner of Portugal and Croatia, and then nodding to what Jules was talking about then, whoever wins between the United States and Belgium. Opening up well for them, or do we not look past the round of 16 at this point, Don?
Well, Spain?
Yep.
Listen, I think the Portuguese game, if they get past Croatia, which I think that game would be very tight, I think when you look at Portugal and you look at Spain, it's the best two midfields in the, well, no, I think it is actually. I think it's the best two midfields in the tournament. And I think that is going to decide whether Portugal have got the ability to take the ball away from Spain, which not many teams have. But that'll be an interesting matchup. But Spain, just as I said before, they look flawless, don't they? You know, we talk about the strength and depth in the French squad, English squad. Spain have got players like Macca there that can come off the bench, and they're not Mbappes of this world. They're not, you know, they're not Doués or Dembélés or Barcolas. But they're, as the lads have said over and over again, they're efficient. They know their roles. They know their jobs, and you always take brains over brawn, and that's what Spain have got.
Whose midfield's better if it were to be Portugal, Macca? Portugal's or Spain's?
Oh, you know what, Kay? There's such lovely matchups. I'm with Hutch. You know, if Croatia do beat Portugal tonight, and I think that game will be close, I think if Spain will win easy. But if they do play Portugal, that's when it could get difficult. You know, you've got Lamine Yamal, we've spoke about, but he's up against arguably the best left back in the world, and Nuno Mendes, if he's fit and plays, and everybody stays fit through this game this evening. So there's some wonderful matchups, and they could almost cancel each other out. So it'll be a great game. It's always very close between Spain and Portugal. And of course, their proximity, they know each other so well. So that'll be a difficult game for Spain. As for midfielders, the answer is I don't know. We all love Vitinha. We all love João Neves, don't we? Of course we do. Bruno Fernandes has had a good year. But Spain, I think, collectively all over the park are probably more comfortable with the ball. Laporte can bring it out of defence. Kubasi can bring it out. I think they just got a little bit more class in there. But I think the matchups all over the park will be wonderful if that game does happen.
Is today's game, Jules, a reset for Spain? Because there'd been those doubts after the opening stages, in the group stages. But today we saw more of the Spain we were expecting to see coming into the tournament. Can they see it as some type of a reset?
Yeah, maybe, although I don't think they were worried, really, because as we all know, the group stage is one thing. The competition, really, the World Cup starts now. With this round of 32, probably even more with the round of 16 like we used to have before. This is every head coach in the team that are still in it. That's exactly what they told those players. And if you're Spain, if you drew 0-0 against Cape Verde, it doesn't really matter so much now. I think today we really saw what they're made of and how good they can be. And again, the opposition wasn't great, sure, but you can only beat what's in front of you anyway. After that, it would be a bit trickier. Certainly, as we said, Croatia or Portugal. But even that, they would be heavily favourite against which one or the other. Same with the US and Belgium. And after that, if they're still in it, obviously it would be probably Morocco or France. So, I mean, they'd be tougher games to come. But I think they're exactly where they wanted to be at the start of the tournament.